Hello everyone and welcome. Make a cup of your favorite drink and get comfortable because this is a wonderful time for news stories from Yellow Cat. Send your own stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. Lawyers who put together wills. What is the craziest/oddest thing someone wanted to put in theirs? I'm the executor of my grandmother's will. I also get the house and everything in it, and a share of life insurance that's split 3 ways between myself, sister, and mom. My mom has always said that all my dad, my grandmother's son-in-law, would like to have is some table. Well, in the will, there's like a whole paragraph that states how my dad gets nothing, he doesn't lay a finger on anything in the house or any money. How my dad is basically worthless and deserves nothing, and how he was a crap dad, and that she begrudgingly has my mom in the will. Thanks, Grandma, I'll appreciate the awkwardness. When my great aunt, whom I barely had any relationship with, died, I discovered that in her will, she left me a taxidermy giant silk moth that she had hanging on her wall. Evidently, someone told her about my love for bugs. I still have it, and it's one of the coolest things in my collection of odd knickknacks. She left my cousin a Furby. Not a will, but a deed. The city I work for was renovating a small park that was donated to the city in the 1910s. We went looking through the handwritten deed for easements or other restrictions and found that the family could claw the property back if the park were not perpetually provided with a fountain of pleasant running water fit for consumption by man and beast alike. The family still had descendants in town, so we installed a new water fountain with a dog bowl filler just to be safe. My grandma left a penny and a nasty comment to almost every person in the will, all of her sons and daughters, even a few grandchildren, except for me. I got $1,000. Thanks, Grandma. A good clause is always for reasons known to them, which is will speak for, "You've gone and effed up, a-hole, I don't forgive you." In my own will, I left my father the content of my kitchen trash can at any time of my passing for reasons known to him. My vindictive grandmother left my aunt $20 as a reminder of the $20 my aunt stole from her once. My grandfather left my uncle 3 things from his rather valuable estate. 1. $1 in unrolled pennies. 2. A framed copy of the contract my uncle signed saying he owed my grandfather over $100K, never repaid. 3. A framed copy of the letter my uncle sent my grandfather saying he was disowning my grandfather for being cheap, with my grandfather having written "accepted, a-hole" and signed his name. I was only a kid, but I understood and laughed at it when I heard my uncle cursing my grandfather to the attorney. Still laugh today, and my grandfather was right. He is an a-hole. Lots of people sending their friends and family on weird errands to spread their ashes, leaving money for people to take trips and spread their ashes around the world. Pet trusts are a fun one, leaving a whole whack of money in a trust to be used for the care of the pet during their life. However, my favorite ever that I obviously didn't draft was a lawyer who left the bulk of his estate, millions in today's dollars, to whatever Toronto area woman had the most children at a specific date some years in the future. I recall the winner had 10. Here's one from my dad's law partners. He had a lady come in with an itemized list of books and wanted her will to contain all of the books and who will get what based on her choosing. So basically, she decides who gets what specific book instead of letting her beneficiaries decide. The truly astonishing thing is how many books and how specific they get. According to Dad's law partner, her list is at about 2,000 books to be divided among about 30 people. She is apparently very specific and comes back at least once a year to add all the new books she's gotten. Not a lawyer, but an aging woman my family knew left her house, large and in very affluent neighborhood, and estate to family friends for so long as her cats were alive and taken care of in said house. After they died, the house was to be sold and the remaining estate donated. The weird thing is, it's been like 20 years and the cats are still alive. Also, they've changed color. Not a lawyer, but my mom put in her will that if she dies under suspicious circumstances, that my sister and I won't be left anything. She watches a lot of true crime. I, early 20s, was forced to write a will due to the health insurance I get at work, and amongst sensible stuff, the in-house lawyer said it was totally okay for this clause to be added. My funeral wishes are that I be buried in a coffin which has been spring-loaded such that opening the coffin would cause alarm to future archaeologists. Then a bunch of stuff about if this is too costly, I'd be cremated and have my ashes scattered in a specific place. My great-grandmother left most of her money to a local donkey sanctuary. Not a lawyer, but I work at a law firm. Our client left $100,000 to his 2 cats so they could maintain their current lifestyle. My old landlord took 2 years to boot me out because her mother, who owned the place, died and she wanted to sell the place. But her mother's carer said the mother verbally promised the house to her. Even though it was not written in the will, it still took 2 years of fighting in court to clear things up. No, the carer didn't get it in the end, even after all the appeals. Just last week, I handled a matter where the parents left millions in artwork to various people, wads of cash to various charities, and only left their kids the family cats. Turns out, they did it because the kids got them the cats to comfort the parents in their old age, and the parents effing hated the cats, but the kids wouldn't let them get rid of the cats. Not a lawyer, but my grandpa put in his will a chocolate bar for every one of his grandkids. Well, I have like 12 cousins, and very difficult to track down where a couple of them went. All this estates and money he had in will was at a standstill for months because they couldn't find my couple cousins. Had to show court we put in effort to hire someone to track them down, etc. The lawyer that was helping execute the will was blown away that this lawyer would allow this and why he wouldn't highly suggest not to do it. But I'm not complaining cause I got a Toblerone out of the deal. This one isn't necessarily crazy, just an interesting glimpse into the mind of a kind old woman in her 90s. My aunt and uncle, both were more like parents and incredibly beautiful people, passed away within a few weeks of one another. When my uncle became ill, the aunt tried to work on a will with her long-term lawyer, but she was kinda just old and out of it. Her main concern the entire time was small knickknacks like a jar of pennies she wanted a distant cousin to have, or a used jacket from the 70s she bequeathed to a sister-in-law. It was quite touching how much she spent carefully considering each item and who would get it. Most of the items were used and didn't even really hold any sentimental value, she just wanted them to go to good homes. When she passed away, everyone knew exactly who was getting each odd item. The real kicker is when the lawyer told the primary beneficiaries that she never got around to the bigger assets and all that jazz. She basically told the lawyer, pay for our funeral and anything we owe, and then family members X, Y, and Z can figure out the rest. It ended up being millions in homes, lakefront property, jewelry, antique firearms, vehicles, life insurance policies, stocks, bonds, gold coins, etc., etc. Luckily, the family is very close and everything went off without a hitch. They were amazing people who wanted to keep family items in the family. They just didn't put that much weight on their incredible wealth. They also hid their wealth amazingly. We all knew that they were very comfortable, but no one had any idea they were deep into 8-figure assets. It was just funny to see a random niece get a set of plastic cups, worn dance shoes, and a check for $125,000. So this is related. Worked on a divorce up a couple who fought over every single thing in the house, separating pillows and such. They were left 52 gallons of vanilla extract by her grandmother. In a secondary proceeding, he was awarded all but 5 gallons. 2 weeks later, he sent in a case of sample and Ziploc baggies to her office, along with a request to subpoena a urine test from his ex-wife to prove she peed in the jugs before he picked them up. We never needed to, as she screamed in court that she peed them full just like he peed all over her during their marriage. They were neat. This sample couple went to court for nearly 2 years over a Beanie Baby collection. They had 3 kids. No ma'am, in order to bequeath something, you actually have to own it. My grandpa gave me all his tools, which sounds dumb, but we are in the same trade and it was a real life changer. It included a lift and his old shop truck, so I pretty much got everything to start my own shop but a building, a pretty good chunk of change, and his dog Tanner, as long as I made sure his live-in girlfriend at the time got nothing at all, and I told my uncle he was fat and his wife was going to leave him if she couldn't find his pecker. There was literally a script inside the will. It all went smooth and my uncle lost weight and Janice is an a-hole and it turns out Tanner is kind of an a-hole too, but it's okay because my grandpa was kind of an a-hole. A good one, but still sort of an a-hole. And they have the same mustache and eyebrows, so now I come home from work every day and get stared down by my grandpa. Not a lawyer, but work for a will writer / trust specialist in the UK, currently studying towards my TEP. One of our earlier clients passed recently. Turns out the man she left almost everything to, including the residue of her estate, which was considerable, was her regular taxi driver. She had also named him as her executor. He had no clue. The woman named as her executor and main beneficiary on her previous 2 wills, a close friend of many years, was understandably flabbergasted and contested the will. We responded to her solicitor's Lark v. Nugas request, informed Mr. Taxi Driver, who didn't even know our client had passed, and the will was upheld. Aforementioned friend was left a legacy of £5,000 if I remember correctly, but her nose was clearly out of joint. Bonus observation, it takes a lot less than £5,000 being up for grabs to make families turn against each other. Can really get nasty. One of the most startling things I've learned in my short time in this business. I read a lot of estate documents as part of my job. There is so much subtle shade in them occasionally. They can be pretty entertaining. One super wealthy lady had a huge section for the care and well-being of her pets with primary and successor caretakers, a certain amount of money from the trust for care and feeding of each pet. One pet owner might receive $3,000 a month to take care of one of her pets after she passed, and certain stipulations on how they were to be cared for. While some might see it as excessive, the language and stipulations she had and how they were referred to showed that she really loved her pets. In that same will and trust, she also left a slew of people only $1 so that there would be no chance they could take the trust to probate court on the basis that they were merely forgotten. That part had so much subtle shade. A lot of they know what they did, they are well aware of their guilt in the matter, etc. She split up about $2 million among 5 or 6 different animal rescues and animal welfare charities. It was around 200 pages long, and I swear I read the entire thing just for the sheer entertainment value. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, the likes, and the comments. See you in the next video.